Hey there, Pisces. Welcome to your reading for the week of May 23rd. This week, you start off with the Nine of Spades, which is a card of needing to open up to new ideas, needing to open up to new things. A lot of times when we have a Nine of Spades, we are like too focused on one thing. This card can also represent having dealt with a disappointment. So a lot of you could have dealt with a disappointment recently. I don't think you'll be having any disappointments this week necessarily. I think you've already had the disappointment, whatever it was. So a lot of you could be dealing with some sort of disappointment and things like that, or maybe had something kind of like unwelcome happening to you, something that you really didn't want to have happen, but maybe you had to deal with something as well. Or I feel like a lot of you are also starting new projects and things and trying to get projects going, and maybe just something hasn't worked out. But this is a card of, like I said, opening up to new ways of doing things to make something work. Next, you have the Six of Diamonds. So definitely planting a lot of seeds, figuring a lot of things out in a lot of ways. This is a card of also financial responsibility. I've said it before. I think Pisces is getting a lot more financially responsible just in general, taking care of finances and things like that. This is a card of repaying loans even, just to get them out of your life. That's what this card is all about. It's about dealing with those financial things just so you can remove those things from your life so you don't have to deal with them anymore. That's what this card is all about. I also get that maybe with the Nine of Spades and the Six of Diamonds, maybe over the past couple weeks, maybe you've had something come up where you've ended up having to pay off an old debt or something like that, or an old bill or something, and maybe you had to work out some sort of deal to get that paid down. But I think if you are one of those people, you made the right decision. Definitely, like, coming up with some sort of agreement to deal with it is definitely what you had to do. So just know that that stuff will go well. It'll do really well if you had to do something like that. Next, you have the Five of Clubs. Five of Clubs is all about adventuring, thinking about taking an adventure, moving, thinking about moving, planning a move. There's a lot that goes into this card in a lot of ways. It has to do with living and changing your living circumstances in a lot of ways. And maybe a change will be very positive for you. This is also a card of learning. You have the Ten of Clubs coming up at the end, so definitely a lot of learning going on. But sometimes this is a card of just needing to take a risk. Like if you're thinking about moving, but maybe you don't necessarily have the finances, maybe now you're just like, you know what? I'm just going to end up doing it anyway, even though I don't have finances, because I got to move forward. So a lot of you could be making that decision this week or just thinking about it. Again, I wouldn't say with Mars retrograde, I would say probably not the best time. And again, August is a really good time to, do these things if you actually want to do them. But right now, it's a really good time to plan on like moving and figure out how you're going to do those things. Next, you have the Ace of Clubs, really great card. A card of abundance in all ways coming to you. It's a good card for that. It's also a great card for communication and communicating with a lot of people as well. And a card of using your talents to even make money. This card can represent financial gain, more money coming to you, more love coming to you. Pretty much, like I said, abundance in all its forms. It can even represent like a message coming to you. So a lot of you could be hearing about some better finances and hearing about something better happening to you financially under this card. Next, you have the King of Spades. Totally represents Pisces in a lot of ways. Even though this normally represents an air sign, the funny thing about the King of Spades is it totally represents somebody who's been through a lot of difficulties, had to deal with a lot, and this is some justice coming back to you. This is you finally having some justice. I feel like a lot of Pisces feel like they've had a lot of injustices done against them. So just know, a lot of energy is coming back to you. So any injustices are going to be, any wrongs are going to be righted, basically, under this card. And you could see a lot of that happening. And this can also be Pisces trying to become more of an authority this week, trying to reach more authority type position in whatever it is that you do. Next, you have the Ten of Clubs. Very good card. Very good for those of you in business. Very good for those of you that work. And it's also very good for just traveling and socializing. A lot of Pisces could be thinking about traveling right now, figuring out how you're going to travel. This card represents a plane trip under some card reading system. So a lot of you could be thinking about how you're going to make that happen. A lot of you could be, I feel like, visiting someplace you've already visited again, like wanting to go back. And this is also a very good card for new beginnings. It comes up a lot where, it's a good time to start something new and start a new beginning, and it's followed right up by the Ten of Diamonds, which is another good card of starting over. It's a great card of prosperity and money coming to you, better money. I think a lot of Pisces have already been experiencing better money, and if you haven't, then you definitely need to reevaluate kind of some of the things that you're doing with these cards, because I talk to a lot of you Pisces, of course, because Pisces, you guys are like the number one people that order readings from me, number one. So I talk to a lot of you, and a lot of you have told me that things are definitely getting better for you. So that's good. And like I said, I think if they haven't gotten better for you, then there are definitely some things that you could do, like educating yourself and learning something new to try to get ahead in some other way. And also we have this last card here, which we'll talk about in a second, but 8 of Spades is all about trying something new. But I want to stay on this card because it's a very good card. Like I said, it represents business success, also represents looking at your finances and how you can make them better. And then finally, like I said, we have this 8 of Spades. If you're stuck somewhere, this card just wants you to try something different. So again, if something isn't working out for you, business, relationship, work, spirituality, in any one of those areas, it just wants you to try something new. Again, this is like one of those cards that has to do with health. Even if you're like on a diet and you're not losing weight or something like that, this card just says try another diet. Try a different exercise routine. Try something, different. It's all about experimentation as well. So I feel like a lot of Pisces are also in this experimentation phase where maybe it's like you're really trying to experiment on how to get things to work in your life. And maybe that's how a lot of you are looking at it. Maybe that's why the message is coming in as an experiment, because maybe a lot of you are like testing something, seeing how it goes, and then if it doesn't work, you're trying something new, which I think is a good way of doing things right now for you, Pisces. So looks like a great week, though. A lot of good cards. So thank you for watching and enjoy it.